You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
The wasteland is the post-apocalyptic mess. As the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the form of frozen atomic waves. From deep within the form of frozen atomic waves.
Hello and welcome to the 109th episode of the Fallout Feed. We are the show that compares and contrasts playing the same quests with random characters with drastically different attributes. Welcome, everybody. Good evening, Sarah.
Good evening.
So we've got a nice lineup of player feedback to go through tonight. And
Awesome.
we will also chat a little bit about what we thought about the new information about Fallout 76. And so, have you been getting any gameplay in?
Ray, I started Fallout 3.
Oh!
You guys,
yes.
I'm sorry, but you have lost me forever. I don't know why I'm still on the show because I've only played Fallout 3 for the past week.
Oh, well, truth
love
be
it.
told, other than getting into Nuka World, yeah, that's all I've done too.
I know, that's what you were saying last week. Oh man, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
This is just going to go completely off the rails.
Well,
But
we'll just
I
have
love
to
it.
remember to keep them separated so we
I
don't
know, right?
talk about our Fallout 3 quests.
I know. It's fun. It's my husband's fault because I was having a rough day one day. I think it was like Saturday. I don't remember what day. Friday or Saturday. Having a little bit of a rough day, and I came home and it was just loaded on my, gaming bed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So he handed me a controller and I created a character, and it was some good times. So
Yeah, it is definitely a fun game, and it's interesting because it had been a really, really long time. I had not played Fallout 3 since I got New Vegas.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So I never went back and played it again. And so I had really forgotten all of the references to Fallout 4 that existed in Fallout 3.
Yeah.
So many places where they talk about the Commonwealth, and especially along the replicated man quest line. But just kind of all over the place. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and I actually remember last week, I think you were talking about the GOAT test that you take.
Right.
And it literally is word for word the same questions that they
Yep.
give you when you go into Covenant. And I remember you saying that. And so already, I mean, there's so much in Fallout 3 that Fallout 4 makes reference to. So I finally feel like I'm in the in crowd,
There you go.
I get the inside jokes finally. I know what tunnel snakes are,
There you go.
So it's good times.
So definitely a lot of fun. It's hard, but I will definitely have to buckle down and get some get caught up on Fallout 4. And of course, it's the worst time ever because we've got a massive lineup of quests coming up for the Nuka World.
Oh
And
no!
so
I've
it's gonna
never
be
been.
oh my gosh, it's a lot of time.
Oh no! Okay, I need to get on it.
So
Otherwise, I'm gonna be in trouble. Well, hello! Look who joined us.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
How are
Andrew.
we this evening? Howdy, howdy.
Wonderful. How are you?
Oh, just darn dandy.
Good. We're talking about the We're talking about the undertaking that we have this week, this upcoming week for Nuka World.
Oh my goodness. Terrible
Yeah.
undertaking.
And how hard it is based on the fact that both of us are playing copious amounts of Fallout 3.
That'll definitely make it tough to play any Fallout 4.
So I'm getting on it. It's my first time in Nuka World. I am terrified about this gauntlet, and I think that I've just been
You haven't
delaying the
been over
inevitable.
yet?
I haven't. Am I in big trouble if I haven't been over there yet?
It's just at least one of the quests is super time consuming.
Okay.
The Cappy and the Haystack quest takes a lot of time, and there's not a lot of guidelines.
Oh no. Okay.
But the other two, I don't think are too bad. You could probably knock those out in an hour or so a piece. I don't know.
Okay.
Or quicker, maybe even. I don't know. Depends on how you play. If you stop and read everything, and sometimes I just fly through stuff, and it doesn't take me as long.
I'm a terminal reader, so it's gonna take me some time.
Yeah. No, but Nuka World's great. It's just that Cappy and a Haystack one. It does take a lot of time, so you got to be prepared for that.
Okay.
But Nuka World is great. And the Cappy and the Haystack is an important quest because it takes you to every little section of Nuka World. So it's important. It takes you on a nice tour to see every section of the park. It'll be great.
That's good.
Yeah. Don't worry about the gauntlet. If you handled the parking garage.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's similar.
Oh, that was easy.
Yeah.
I did Dima's Blue Nightmare. I'm fine.
Oh, yeah. Well, then you can tolerate anything.
Yeah, it's just, it's interesting because they really try to push you to speed through it and die because, the raiders are constantly going on about how long it's taken you to get through this thing. But don't let them rattle you.
Yeah, they've got a guy on a loudspeaker who's just taunting you the whole time, saying saying how slowly you're going, making fun of how inept you are and why you're being so careful. So they're just trying to rush you into making a mistake.
Okay.
You should listen to the radio stations over there too. They change up the radio. They change them up, so it's something different to hear.
That's good.
Yeah, some new radio stations. Well, yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited to hear what you get into over there.
All right.
So tonight we're going to get into some player feedback from last week's quests. So we'll be going over the Devil's Due, Gun Run, Human Error, and Tradecraft. And I've got Freighter all queued up, so we're ready to roll.
Yes.
Hello, Freighter here with my usual rambling feedback. So I'm going to start with the most boring feedback that will surely disappoint many. For Human Error. Anyway, that quest I actually got from Diamond City Security for a change. I overheard them mentioning it, which is odd. I don't think I've ever gotten that quest that way. Usually you get it from, well, not them. Anyway, so when I finally got around to going to this Covenant place to check it out with the quest marker that said investigate Covenant, I met a guy named Swanson outside. Thought to myself, oh, who's the frozen TV dinner now? He had a funny little head and unusually puffy arms and that silly leather coat of his, and I wanted in, so I just politely answered the questions, got in, and that was fine. The question seemed strangely familiar, though. Couldn't quite figure that one out. But yeah, I got in, and once I was in, well, there were lots of interesting people there, but the thing I was most excited about was there were a couple of people that I could make money off of. Anybody that knows me at all with my Fallout game knows that I like to water farm. I like to have millions of caps, and every merchant helps in this game because they don't have a lot of caps usually. So yeah, that's why this is boring feedback. Once I found the merchants, I was happy, and then I left. I go back and I sell them stuff sometimes. No one needs to die, people. Come on. Why do you have to turn to guns in all these quests? Jeez. Anyway, something more exciting where people die. Actually, nobody. Well, maybe Ricky died, but I didn't die and Deacon didn't die, and the rest are robots, except for that Ricky Dalton guy. So, tradecraft. Yeah. So after finding my way to the railroad, I let down Des, because seriously, robot synthesizers? I'm not sympathizing with a robot. Come on, I'm not risking my life for a robot. Let's make a new robot, you know? One that's not so dangerous. Jeez. Anyway, Des was a little disappointed, but Deacon was still on me like poop on a wool blanket, and wanted me to stick around. He offered me a job. He really wanted me to stick it to the Institute, he said. Yeah, okay. So he told me to meet him somewhere. I went there. There's a climbable section of broken down overpass that you can climb up. Down at the bottom, you meet Deacon. He explains to you the silly graffiti means something, but I don't really listen because I don't care. I just want to get on with this. We walked up. We met up with this guy named Ricky Dalton. Now that name's kind of disappointing. Think about it. I mean, he sounds like a 50s rock star. You get up there and meet him. He's got a bad mustache, bad haircut, bad clothes. Just disappointing overall. No sense of humor either. But whatever, with a speech check, I managed to talk him into helping us get into this place in Lexington. So he created a distraction at the front. I assume he died. Yeah, probably died. But either way, Deacon and I got in, no problem. Killed all the synths. We went in the back way through an escape tunnel. He hacked the terminal that needed to be hacked at the beginning. I was able to use another terminal later on it didn't need to be hacked. It was simple. My character, Spade, has no lockpicking and no hacking skill whatsoever. But yeah, I activated some turrets and such, and that made the synths angry. They don't like getting shot. And after they were all dead, we found this prototype in a locked away room in the back. It was Carrington's prototype. After that, Deacon gave me a handgun from the corpse in there. How generous of him. Could have wiped it off first. Didn't. But it had a cool name, the Deliverer. You know, I'm picturing something from Deliverance. Probably not as exciting as that, though. Nice looking gun, though. It looks great. Back home, having never been shot. Just sitting there on display. Anyway, after we got the gun, build all the robots and so on and so forth, time to make our way out. The way out leads you through the Slocum's Joe. It's a very strange name, right? Slocum's Joe. I get the Joe reference, but I don't get the Slocum's reference. And yeah, we got out of there. There's landmines hiding everywhere, just waiting to kill everybody. Oh, that's great. I love landmines. And that's why I assume Ricky's dead. He probably tripped on one, right? Come on. We went back to the railroad in the church there, and Deacon laid it on way too thick, telling Daz how awesome I am. But I played along, and she fell for it. Now I'm known as the Charmer. You'd think Beacon would be the Charmer. He's the one that... Yeah, anyway, you get the idea. Cool. Alright, that's it for now. Maybe I'll add more to this in a minute. If I have time. Thank you. Okay, sorry about that little pause. I got a little more time here. Alright, so I have another disappointing bit of feedback to share. The gun run quest that everybody sounded like they were having fun with. Yeah, every time I went there, didn't matter which save I went back to, didn't matter what I did, every time. The Barney guy, he's dead. As soon as I get there, there's still Meyer lyrics and stuff around. I still get to kill him, but there's no continuing the quest. It's just broken for me. A lot of broken quests in this playthrough, but whatever. That's Fallout for you. Thanks, Bethesda. I did get the Reva 1, but not the Reva 2, because you can't get it.
Are we back?
What happened?
I'm not sure what happened.
Did we lose Ray?
I think we lost Ray.
Oh no. Well, I'm back.
Well, okay, awesome. Frater, thank you for the feedback as always. Makes me laugh.
I couldn't tell if Frater's feedback cut out mid thought or if that was the end of it and Ray cut out then.
I don't know. Frater, was that the end of it?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Oh, wait. Frater's on
yeah,
the YouTube chat. He could actually answer that.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny that the dude is named Swanson and Frater was like, who's the TV dinner now? Frozen.
Yeah.
Well, you are still Frater because you're the one who was frozen. So he didn't use any of the Covenant quest because he wanted to use all the vendors. I thought that was hilarious.
That's super funny.
I don't know. Last week I mentioned how 2 of the vendors were shut off from me because there was that one room with the doctor and then that lady you're supposed to get all the hints from behind the counter, that really suspicious lady Lily or whatever her name is. That door got locked on me and I lost 2 of my vendors immediately. I couldn't get into and to talk to him anymore. Ray, are you back, sir?
I am. I don't know how I got dropped, but
that's weird. Well, welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
We missed you while you were gone.
Thanks. Yeah, so I don't know if it probably died about the time I started talking about the bug in Gun Run.
Oh, you started talking about it? I didn't hear anything that you said.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't hear anything.
Okay, so go ahead and start there, Ray. What were you saying about the bug in Gun Run?
But so that's one of the known bugs in that quest, and the only way to get Reba 2 at that point is to turn off collision and walk through the walls.
Now, how do you get in there if he's already dead and can't let you into the locked gate?
Well, when you turn collision off, you can walk through walls.
Well, I mean,
if otherwise you can't do anything.
I thought Frater just said that he got Reba 1 but not Reba 2.
Right, you can get to the body.
I thought he was up standing on top of the house.
He is, but you can still get up there.
Oh, you can? I thought the gate was locked or something.
You can't get into the basement.
I thought there was a side access gate you couldn't get through or something. I guess there's another way. Can you climb up a different house and hop across roofs or something? How do you get in there?
I don't know. I've never had that bug, so I'm not sure.
I remember getting stuck out there once. Maybe I didn't look hard enough.
I'm a good girl and I just do the quests without killing people.
Well, I don't think he killed
I'm just saying.
I think Barney did himself in, maybe. There's more to look into onto this quest.
Yeah, he's just dead when you're there.
He's stranded on his own roof for so very long. He just couldn't take the loneliness anymore. Had to end it all. Poor Barney. All right. Oh, thank you for the feedback, Frater. Do you guys have any other thoughts on Frater's feedback?
Nope, that was it for me. Yep.
Yeah.
I was going to see if he had thoughts on Fallout 76, Frater. Send us some thoughts in about did you watch any of the live footage that's been going on? Oh, the NDA's been dropped, so there's tons of stuff out there. Who else we have up on the docket tonight?
So Leon is next up.
All right, Leon.
Ad Victorium, Wastelanders. This is the Fallout Feed Roundtable for Season 6, Episode 7 for the quest Devil's Due, Gun Run, Tradecraft, and Human Error for the character Davis. So, obviously this is Leon in Texas. Had to throw in the Ad Victorium though. So, I did Human Error early in the game. I tend to do that for roleplay reasons. After the first time I played through the game and found out what Covenant really was. From a roleplay standpoint, early on in the game, you don't really know what synths are. So you can kind of go either way and not really have a later effect. So a lot of times if I want to play like a railroad-friendly character or even an Institute-friendly character, I will do Covenant early on. And then if I choose to side with Covenant and keep them as a settlement, there's enough kind of leeway in the story where they tell you bad things about synths and synths are evil and blah blah blah, so you can kind of convince yourself, okay, this is the right thing to do, especially when you let the doctor sacrifice her captive and you find a synth component on her. So you're like, oh no, they're right. So that's a kind of an interesting little thing there. So I usually do that one early. I did it this time with Piper. I did not take Honest Dan with me. I didn't mention the secret base to him. But I left Piper. I sent her back to Sanctuary so that I was companionless for that particular quest. But I did have Heather Caston with me, and she's got kind of a bias against synth, so she didn't really care. Tradecraft was pretty easy for me because in my playthrough, the railroad are dead. So there is no Tradecraft. Poor Deacon, he died. Luckily, I never met the railroad except long enough for them to decode the Courser chip. Sorry, brain freeze for a second there. And so Deacon never actually spoke up for me. It was just more of Desdemona was like, "Oh, you got a course trip? Okay, we'll let you in." Blah blah blah. So Deacon, I don't feel bad about turning on the railroad because Deacon never actually spoke up and said anything about me. So that was just one way to do it. So that way you don't feel bad when you turn traitor over. Now then, so Devil's Due and Gunrun are all in Salem. Devil's Due goes to the Museum of Witchcraft, which is it's a fun little quest. I like the fact that my DLC companion, sorry, my mod companion, Heather Caston, she makes a comment about when you first hear the death call upstairs, she's like, "It's an alien, a freaking huge alien," or it could be an alien or something like that. It's hilarious. So then I fought the Death Claw, no big deal. I like hearing the story there because the whole mother chasing her eggs down, that kind of thing. This time, since I'm going Brotherhood of Steel and I had Paladin Dance with me, I was like, yeah, I'm not taking a Deathclaw egg back to be hatched into another Deathclaw. That's just too menacing. So I'm going to go get the recipe to make an omelet. So I took my pristine Deathclaw egg back and got the recipe. Now for Salem, that one's a pretty cool one, Gunrun. That guy, I can't remember his name now off the top of my head, but he's a loony. He's a fun loony though, shooting at the Mirelurks and stuff. At this point, I have a twin shot Gauss rifle that with all my bloody mass and a few other perks and rifleman and stuff like that, it's doing like 600 points damage and like per shot. And then you add crits and all this other stuff. And I'm just one shot in a lot of stuff. And so shooting the Mirelurks is pretty easy. Restarting the turrets is pretty funny. Reba too. Well, frankly, my Gauss rifle's better, so I didn't want her to get jealous of my Gauss rifle, so I just kind of stored her aside. So that's pretty much my episode 7 feedback. I am having a little bit more issues with the glitches from the mods that I have downloaded. So I'm running into some issues. I'm fixing to head to Nuka World, so I'm hoping maybe they'll go away there. This will be the first time I'm planning on going into Nuka World and actually getting to kill all of the Raider gangs. Usually in the past, I haven't actually done either. I've either skipped Nuka World or I've sided with the Raider gangs. This is the first time I'm going to go in with the intent to kill everybody, all the Raiders. I haven't done it yet, so I'm hoping I get to kill Red Eye because I remember how annoying he is on the Gauntlet. But I don't know yet, so we'll find out in the next feedback. Anyways, see you in the Wasteland.
Cool. Thanks, Leon.
Well, he made Tradecraft easy.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it. Andrew, weren't you not able to do Tradecraft either?
Yeah, I messed it up. Doing something with the because I was running with a Brotherhood during the whole Bunker Hill stuff. And I think if you side with one of the factions there, that's when you start shunning the others. But I didn't get any, the game loves to toss up that big black message with the white outline saying, "Warning, warning, Will Robinson, you are about to do something that is going to be detrimental to your relationship with other factions. Warning, warning." Like, it usually lets you know.
Right.
I didn't get any sort of message that was like, you're about to fuck up your railroad relationship.
Huh.
But
doesn't it only tell you that when you're in the Institute and you're gonna either side with the Institute and it warns you that that you're gonna have trouble with the Brotherhood?
I don't know. Do they not warn you the other way if you're in the Brotherhood and it's like you're about to do something that's bad for the Institute? Do they not warn you the other direction?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm usually playing Minutemen anyway. You usually get the warning you're about to fuck up your relationship here with the Institute. Watch out. So the game has to be structured in a way with the railroad all dead that it's impossible to do that before you get the courser chip decoded? Or is there another source to decode that courser chip if you are doing the Brotherhood or something?
Yeah,
Kill the railroad.
There's another way, because I don't remember how I did it, but it was definitely not the railroad.
I think I've taken it to Tinker Tom every time. Maybe I haven't. I don't know. That's interesting. Because I was just thinking, wait a second, is it possible? Like, do they have it structured so that it's impossible to kill the railroad before you decode that? But if you say you've done it some other way, interesting.
I'd look it up, but I think that's what caused me to get booted from the stream. So,
oh no, yeah, don't risk that.
No.
I'm really impressed with Leon's damage on his Gauss rifle. It says he has a double shot Gauss rifle doing like 600 damage.
Yeah, those Gauss rifles are tough anyway. But if you find a legendary with the 2-shot, you get another dose of the base damage of the gun.
And that just shoots 2 projectiles, but only charges you for 1 bit of ammunition.
Yep. So one of the shots is gets all the bonuses. So from any perks that you take or anything like that, if you take rifleman
and bloody mess, etc.
Yeah. The second shot is only the base damage of the weapon.
Oh, so it doesn't even get rifleman or anything.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, just the bare base level damage for the gun.
So what do you think high leveled? He's doing 600 damage with the first shot. What do you think that second shot is coming in at? Granted, he doesn't need the second shot because he's one-shotting everything and killing stuff. But if he did get to that second shot, if it's the first one's 600, mathematically, off the top of your head, can you guesstimate what that second shot would be?
No.
Ballpark?
Mm-mm. I'm not sure what a Gauss rifle is.
Yeah, I never ever use those. Been a long time.
But yeah, one combination that I found to be quite interesting is that exploding shotgun that I've got and bloody mess. But it can make it really hard to loot a body.
Because there's pieces everywhere.
There's pieces everywhere.
You can't find them. Yeah.
And if you've shot 6 or 7 raiders all in a cluster, it can be really hard to pick through all the bits.
You're sitting there sifting through all the different body parts, saying, "I know I saw a legendary raider here somewhere. I can't find a foot."
Yeah,
I swear
everything's in a goo pile, but I know there's a sledgehammer in there somewhere. I should be able to see it.
Oh, do you have that energy weapons? Is it an energy weapons perk that creates the goo pile?
No, that's what, but just the bloody mess from exploding.
Eyeballs. You can search an eyeball and pick up someone's weapon. I always thought that entertaining.
Yep.
Let's see. Leon mentioned mod glitches. That makes me think, Leon, if you're finding glitches, have you tried to remove anything? That's where I always got into trouble, was when you're free to add mods generally mid playthrough, do a hard save to a point where you can revert back to where you right before you added it, so you can take it off if you want. Because taking them off is really, without being able to revert back to a hard save, that's always where I ran into trouble. I got the weird red square or red triangle, NPC markers.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, I would get lots of bugs where my settlements would get stuck. They wouldn't produce, like the vegetables wouldn't reproduce. The water purifier wouldn't go. Like everything would be on and fine. And it's just that the production cycle would get stuck for some reason because I stupidly was willy-nilly adding and removing mods. Adding them probably wasn't causing the trouble. It was then removing them and not having a nice hard save to go back to right before I was doing all this stupid experimenting.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
You end up leaving out textures or, fragmenting scripts, and all kinds of bad stuff can happen.
Yeah, Ray does a lot more modding than I do, so he probably know more about it. Do you manage to get pretty stable builds usually, or do you still deal with lots of crashes and such?
Yeah, no, not too bad at all. I typically, once I've set up a character, I don't change any of the mods. And a lot of times I'm even reluctant to update a mod until after I'm done. But yeah, so Jang Jun's got a pretty good set of mods running, and she's been very stable.
Are you an environmental modder more, or
a little bit of everything?
Yeah, nice. Fallout feed flags flying proudly.
Yeah, I still have to work on that. I I can't download the mod from the mod page because it's my mod. And when I loaded it from one computer to the other, I could build the flag, I just couldn't see it. So I've got to go in and check my texture and make sure it's still there.
That's really odd. I showed you that I can see it from one direction.
Yeah,
but not the other. So it's like a police interrogation one-way mirror or something. Yeah. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, that worked out pretty good. It's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, exactly. You're just following suit from Bethesda, right?
Yeah,
that's good stuff. He's going in to kill all the raiders too. I don't think have I killed all the raiders? Like, I'm trying to remember. I probably have, but oh yeah, I definitely have. But I did it in the way that the quest tells you to. There's a way that it's like, go kill this leader, then go kill this leader. Then they kind of make you take it slow and do it strategically and set people up and stuff. I've never just gone in guns blazing immediately and just mowed down everyone I saw. Are there innocent people in Nuka World? There's like the lady who gives you the Cappy quest.
Yeah, the merchants and everybody with the collars on.
The collars and the market, yeah.
Yeah.
All those people are innocent. You don't want to kill them. But yeah, that'd be fun. Just go in guns ablazing. And if you're doing 600 points of damage with your first shot, sheesh, doesn't even matter.
Yeah, you're taking a few out.
Doesn't even matter.
Yeah, so I've got that Minuteman character that I started playing, and I've got a mod in his package that is the Minutemen help you attack Nuka World.
Does that mean you could use like your artillery and all that?
No, because that's still too far away. But it gives you a little army of Minutemen to go in and help you out.
There is that settlement, the Red Rocket Nuka World. When do you get that? Do you have to like complete everything in order to get that?
Yeah, you have to turn the power on, which is the last thing you do.
Oh, okay.
In that Raider quest line.
But then you could build artillery after that, and then
but they're already dead.
And then
Is
there a way to side with the raiders?
If you side with the raiders, you have to go through the entire park. You have to go through the Commonwealth, wiping out settlements there, taking them over for the raiders. And then you get a message to go back to Nuka World and deal with the faction that you gave the least amount to. And then at that point, you take them out and you can fire up the generator. If you go and side with the slaves, then you can get to the generator, turn it on, and put power to the park and get to that. But you've already killed all the raiders before you did that. It looks
Very
like Mark jumped on.
Yes, hello, Mark.
Mine's in the shop. How are you doing?
Do you have a Geiger counter? Nice. Very well, sir. How are you this evening?
Not bad. Just finished a good old 10-hour shift.
Oh.
Go pick up the younglings now. Just wanted to drop in, say hello. I'm very honored for the invite.
Well, perfect. We're glad that you could stop by for at least a few minutes here. Mark will be on for a little bit this evening, but he's going to join us for our big Nuka World to do next week. So we'll be looking forward to having you on, especially next week, Mark. So it's great for you to hop on.
Lovely, thank you. I'll definitely commit to the full one next time.
Cool. So we were just talking about Nuka World, getting into that a little bit, and we just heard some feedback from Leon and Freighter. So Mark, if do you have any thoughts on Nuka World off the top of your head?
Could be. It seems a bit more like a Mad Max sort of setting to me. I mean, I've never been there, but it looks a lot. So it just reminds me of that sort of like Fury Road, War Boy, all just raiders going crazy. Like you can completely distance yourself from what you're doing in the main game. I'm assuming anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll have to dive in there tonight, definitely, and give a bit more insight.
Sweet, that sounds good. Now it seems like we're going to have quite a few people who haven't been to Nuka World. Sarah still hasn't been over to Nuka World yet. Sarah, are you playing the game tonight?
Sorry.
I'm not. I know. I should probably just pop it in and head over there.
Just tell us what's going on. Sorry, Mark. What were you saying?
Oh, just sort of self-confessing. I've got a problem with DLC. It seems I got all the when the Skyrim ones came out on PS3 and they were delayed. Made sure I got them all for 15% off. I still haven't played them. It's just I don't know what's wrong with me.
They're just such in-depth games. You don't even really need DLC. It's fun to play though. This Fallout 76 is to me. I've been watching some of this gameplay footage. To me, it almost feels like it's going to be some extra, just like a super huge, big Fallout 4 DLC, because it really, each Fallout game seems so different from the previous one. But since Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 are, their release dates are within just a couple years of each other, really. They seem like they're going to be really, really similar games. Are you following Fallout 76? You excited for that at all, Mark?
Yeah, definitely. I was a little bit like Adam was saying. I was a little bit skeptical, but after watching Mr. Maddie plays and a couple of the other ones, that still looks quite promising. Just to live in the world, not so much as a story-based narrative, but just somewhere new to live in a whole new world should be just enough for me, I'd say. I'm not an experienced online player, though.
Oh, yeah. Me neither. I am pretty bad. As far as I can tell, you guys, if anyone actually gets to play with me, I actually get to see how bad I am at video games. I really just play for fun. I'm not a, hardcore gamer or anything like that. Oh, but that's great. So we'll get into more of 76 news here later in the show. But thanks for hopping on, Mark. We're going to hop into some more feedback here. Feel free to stick around if you'd like, or if you got to take off or whatever.
I may have to give you an Irish goodbye and duck out at some point, but if I do, I apologize. But
no, that's quite all right. So if so, we'll see you next time. If not, we'll talk to you here in a few minutes.
Yeah, totally.
Who we got up next, Ray?
Well, as it works out, it's actually Mark that's up next.
Oh, Mark, you're up next. Okay, awesome.
Oh, God. Oh, no,
Perfect.
I'm sorry.
All right, here we go.
Serendipity.
Ooh, it's Mark with a W, and we're getting spooky. In all seriousness, no, the dog didn't eat my homework this week, so I've actually got something interesting to talk about. So we'll dive right in with Devil's Due, and I'll not talk too much about actually being in the Museum of Witchcraft, other than the fact that the first time I played it, like I'm sure the first time everybody played it, was absolutely terrifying, especially when you haven't got a clue what's going on. But the most interesting part of that, sorry, I've got dog meat in the car. Shush! Stop your crying. I'm talking to my friends. Anyway, sorry about that. We're on the way to the Museum of Witchcraft, and I heard a lot of gunfire, like in the distance, and saw a bunch of raiders in amongst the trees, sort of taking shots at a vertibird. And I'm at the point now where I've met the Brotherhood of Steel, and I've been holding off on the railroad for the sake of tradecraft. So I'm sort of in affiliation with them at the moment. So was doing that. Saw them shooting at them. I thought, right, I'll give them a bit of a hand, and shot at them. Took the raiders out and took all their stuff. The vertibird carried on, and I carried on my way. And then we got to, I think it's called Breakheart Banks, but it's the settlement that looks like a settlement, but you cannot actually use it as a settlement. And there's a load of super mutants there. And me being the true Geordie that I am, I'm playing on hard, because obviously if you're from Newcastle, you're bloody hard. So I had, I think, was it maybe 2 skirmishers, a couple of brutes of the super mutants, and they were just kicking my ass just over and over again. And then out of nowhere, I saw this come out of nowhere. The vertibird actually came back and helped me out, took out a whole group of them that were holed up in a building that I was struggling with. And I just sort of felt that like bro nod, like, yeah, I got you back. Yeah, I know it. Yeah, I know what you're doing. And it was just one of those perfect moments in the unscripted stories that we get to tell ourselves. It was just great. But when I was on the way there, of course, took out 3 death claws on the way on top of that, and fought more raiders outside the museum until we find Private Heart. And you listen to the holotape, you go inside, you do all of that. And did anybody else notice? I was having a look around in the basement in the museum, and in one of the rooms, it's pretty creepy. There's just a skeleton sitting at a desk facing the corner. It just made me think of the Blair Witch Project sort of thing, sitting in the corner, and that creeped me the absolute hell out. So I had, I think it was good, maybe 3 deaths or 4 deaths to a savage death claw. And so what I'm trying to do now is punish myself for dying. So every time I die, I've got a little death toll in my notes. I'm keeping a tally chart, and I'll put a little tick next to it. So I'll take them in every time I go to Diamond City or anywhere like that with a facial surgeon. I'll just add a whole heap of scars. It's my own little way of sort of trying not to die, on top of the fact that you have to restart. But
just my little punishment. But other than that, I found the Grognak comic in there. And while I was in Salem, I thought, right, I'll go and help this Barney guy, and did all of that. And while he was chatting away, I was having a look around in his house, and I managed to steal Guns and Bullets. So that was 2 magazines we found already. And I decided, in my good faith, I would, sort of go a bit Jeff Goldblum and let life find a way. And we took the egg back, and it was a really chilling moment, staring that death claw straight in the eyes and slowly backing away. But it was all good. It's got to be done. You gotta let the wildlife sort of flourish, let it grow, and then we'll take it on later on. So after that, we go to Covenant. You talk to Honest Dan after you do the safe test and stuff. Find out about Stockton's daughter, and while we were doing all that, I had McCready with me, and I stole something, so he decided, oh, I'm going to admire you now. We need to go to MedTech research, by the way, because my boy's sick. So I was like, right, yep, okay, fair enough. We're going to drop everything. We're going to go to MedTech research. So we're doing all that. We get up to the top. We have a fight with the feral ghouls, and McCready fell through a hole in the floor and broke his legs. Stim packing him. He didn't want to get up. He's just sort of lying on the ground. And I got to the top floor of this MedTech research building, and there's a terminal up there that you need to get access to finish the quest. And to do that, you need Jacob's password. Well, of course, I'd just picked up Jacob's password in Covenant. So I'm thinking, what the fuck's going on here? Why is this terminal not letting me in? There's a different Jacob's password that McCready gives you. But of course, he wouldn't give it to us because he couldn't get up to the top of the bloody building. So that was just a drama and a half. But we got there in the end. And we finished doing that. I got back to my homework, back to what I was supposed to be doing, and went in to find the compound and do all that, and getting guided through by Manny, just bossing everyone around. He's a little bit of a wanker, really, and just typical classic Bethesda writing. As we're walking through, you've got one guard will say, "Welcome to the compound," and the next one will say, "You shouldn't be in here." And then the next one will say, "Yeah," and just I love to hate these Bethesda games, honestly. But anyway, Dr. Chambers was her name, I think. She's talking about, oh, the synth menace, and I watched my daddy die, and this, that, and the other. And I wasn't quite sure what to do, so I had a quick little sidebar with McCready, and he reckons, oh, maybe I should just sort of let her carry on. So I was like, all right, yeah, whatever. Did that, turned around, Honest Dan didn't like it, shot him in the head, only took one shot. Did that, got the money, and sort of taking that, looking at that as a role play side. I haven't really, encountered the synth menace. I don't know much about the synths, but now that I've gone and I've met the railroad, I might consider going back there and taking them all out for what they've done, because it's not on really. The success rate's not very high and all that, so probably shouldn't let them carry on. But so yeah, go to the railroad in the Old North Church, do all that, and spins, get that horrible puzzle out of the way. Go into the switchboard with Deacon, get the deliverer off Tommy Whispers, and when we get back there, she's Deacon's doing his usual, talking a load of rubbish. So I just sort of fessed up and said to Desdemona, yeah, it was tough, but Deacon was there, he was helping out. And then she decided, oh, well, if you're going to join us, you need a name. And I tell you what, there's no better sniper in the Commonwealth than me. So my name's Bullseye. Not like the Daredevil thing, because that movie was horrible. The TV show was alright, I suppose. I would just like some better nicknames than what they give you, really. Professor Ninja or whatever, I don't know. So I'll be Bullseye from now on. You're not talking to Mark with a W anymore, I'm sorry. But I'll try and keep up with it. We're going to be in Nuka World next time, so that'll be another eye-opener for me. I've never been there before, so it's going to be all good. Looking forward to hearing from everybody else, and let's blast off! Wait. Oh, no, that's the other podcast. I'm sorry.
Well, thanks for the feedback, Bullseye.
So I took McCready to the Salem Museum of Witchcraft, and as soon as I walked into the basement, he spoiled me. As soon as you walk into the basement, he's like, "Oh, that's a death claw." And I'd done the quest before with my OG character, but I was like, "That's rude."
Yeah, it ruins the whole surprise.
Yeah. But I know exactly what Mark's talking about with the skeleton in the corner. It is creepy as F. That whole place is creepy.
Yeah, it's definitely well done.
Super well done.
Do you?
I'll have to.
Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Oh, just saying, I have to thank Ray for letting me know last week about that hole in the floor. I wouldn't have coped very well without that, falling in the hole and coming back up the stairs.
Surprised McCready didn't fall in that hole for you.
Oh.
Well, I had old Longfellow with me at the time, and he was saying some pretty nasty stuff. Oh, I hope the end came as quick for this one. Ugh, yuck stuff.
Do any of you? Not that this isn't a great quest. It's one of the more requested quests when we're talking about the best side quest in the game. But do any of you feel a little disappointed in the end boss? Is that it's like just a death claw?
Yeah, it could have been a bit more of a leveled one or an alpha or something like that, so it was a bit more intimidating.
I even think that they could have made it like a witch or like an actual haunted house, or done something weird with the story. Like I don't even know what, but like put some weird twist to it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get what you mean. Like something totally unique, yeah.
I think the death claw is pretty scary. I was scared.
Yeah, no, it's totally great, and it's a totally creepy quest.
Yeah.
It's just, it seems like it's almost perfectly set up to be a super original location, and then that they could have had like, a named weird beast that you don't see anywhere else in the game or something.
That's true.
Yeah,
Bit
that
of a
would
missed
work.
opportunity.
But not that I'm complaining. Still a great quest. But I was just curious if any of the rest of you had ever thought about that.
What if you walked in and it was just like a bunch of Hargravens from Skyrim? That's what they're called, right? The little witches?
Yeah.
Now that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Throwing fireballs at you.
Just throwing, yeah.
That's true. A Hagraven head would come in handy as some sort of weapon. You could use that for something.
Oh, for real. What do you normally get from them? You normally get feathers from them, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm sure that feathers could be used somewhere in this game somehow.
You can put them
Come
in
on,
your hat.
Bethesda. Get more creative.
+5 to aerodynamics.
There you go.
Yeah, and I never really thought about there being 2 Jacob's passwords in the game.
Oh, it had me baffled. I was so confused. I didn't know what was going on.
It's right there. I can see it in my inventory.
Yeah.
And I really liked the idea about going to get scars put on your face every time you die.
Oh, I'm not a pretty boy anymore. Covered in burns and gashes and gouges.
I would just be, yeah, I die a lot. That wouldn't work for me. I wouldn't be alive anymore. But that's a really cool idea. Someday when I'm super good, I'm going to do that.
But it doesn't break the bank that much either. I think it's
really?
only 100 caps every pop. So you get so many caps.
I know.
Broken economy in Bethesda.
At some point, you have so many that it's just kind of like, well, what am I going to do with this?
Well, you get so much from the legendary drops that you don't use as well. I just sell all that off if it's pointless having it.
Yeah. I used to be the kind of person that kept all that, and now I'm just kind of like, oh, whatever. I just sell everything I pick up, basically. And also, did dog meat get taken care of after?
Well, she was a bit upset because the boy was in the vet and she wasn't.
Oh.
So she hates being left out, I think. So she's crying the whole time. I hope it wasn't too much of an annoyance.
No, it was
added
cute.
good flavor. Yep.
Yeah. I love her to death, really.
Poor pup.
So cute.
Sorry, I ducked away for a second. Did you guys mention his scar thing?
Yeah.
We did.
That's pretty awesome.
The ladies love it.
The ladies love a cutter, right? Why do you think McCready waits so long to tell you about his kid? Does he mention that?
It takes a while.
It takes fucking forever. And you're just like, hey, man, we've been hanging out for 2 months. We could have found your kid already. We could have gotten that remedy or whatever by now.
It's because he's so damn hard to please. He doesn't like anything you do.
It's that thick exterior he puts up, but he's really just a lovable, mushy guy underneath. You know he is.
I know. It's so annoying.
It's a shame about his teeth, though.
About his teeth?
Oh, they're all black and...
No. Well,
are they? I've never looked.
It might just be me, but... Ugh.
You got to overlook some things in the wasteland there, Mark.
Yeah, I can't be too picky, really.
Can't be too picky. At least he's not a ghoul.
Yeah.
When you're brushing your teeth with irradiated toothpaste, I mean...
I should be thankful he's got any.
I just use that as junk. I'm not actually putting that shit in my mouth.
So, Sarah, you're going to have an opportunity to go meet him.
Who?
McCready.
What do you mean, go meet him?
He's the mayor of Little Lamplight in Fallout 3.
What? No.
Yep.
No way. Oh my gosh, Ray. I need to play Fallout 4 this week. You can't be tempting me with things like that.
Why did you just spoil that for her?
Yeah, Ray. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, I'm playing a game that's been out for what? How long has Fallout 3 been out?
2008?
Yeah.
If I'm playing a game that's 10 years old, I can't be mad about being spoiled. I think that's the rule.
I've gotten a couple emails over the years.
Have you really?
It's funny what people get upset about.
That is super funny.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Let's see. Mark, you also mentioned the horrible railroad puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just so mind-boggling. Oh.
And my tendency to rush through things, I didn't understand what the fuck they wanted the first time I went through. I was just like, what the hell is this?
I was the same. I didn't realize you had to take actual physical notes, and then in the end I just ended up guessing it and got it right on the first try anyway.
Yeah, well, there you go. Smarter man than me.
I just love it spins.
Oh, hey. Cool. Well, thank you for your awesome feedback there, Mark.
Thank you, sir.
Wait. It's Bullseye.
Bullseye.
Yep,
sorry,
Bullseye now.
Bullseye.
Even I didn't keep up with it.
I wrote here in my notes, Bullseye, in parentheses, McCready is doing a big eye roll, in parentheses.
Yeah, basically.
Because you claim to be the best sniper in the game, but you have McCready hanging out with you.
Oh, I'm better than him. I'm more patient than him.
He's gonna argue with you about it, at least. That's for damn sure. He likes to think he's the headshot guy. Nice. All right, thank you, Bullseye.
Bullseye with a W.
Bullseye with a W. Of course. Great.
Don't ask.
Don't ask.
You're beating me to it.
Perfect.
All right. Well, next up, we've got Rebecca.
Hello, everyone. This is Rebecca with an update on Flash. While she was in Diamond City having another haircut, Flash overheard one of the guards talking about the old Museum of Witchcraft and how something strange had happened there, so she headed out there with Piper. There was a dead gunner outside and more inside, and clearly something big and angry upstairs because she could hear growling, feel the building shaking, and see bits of gunners falling through the gaps in the floorboards. Upstairs, they found a chameleon deathclaw. It was really difficult to kill, so Flash kept running into the room, throwing grenades, and then running back out into the hallway again. Piper spent most of the time sitting on the floor in the room with the deathclaw and was no help at all. Eventually, Flash killed it, and they found the deathclaw eggs and the dead gunner who had wanted to return the one unbroken egg to the deathclaw nest. Usually, when I play this quest, I return the egg to the nest to fulfill the wishes of the man who died, but Flash decided that if she did that, it would only hatch into another deathclaw that would probably end up killing her or someone else, so she kept hold of the egg. Out of the museum, they turned right and started walking towards Salem. Before long, they heard gunfire and shouting. They crouched down and slowly approached and could see a man on a roof shooting mirelurks. She helped him shoot them, and he let them into his house and told them to go into the basement with him. I've never noticed when I've played this quest before, but this time it felt really creepy and ominous when Flash and Piper were standing in the basement with a strange man holding a gun who was being really hostile. Anyway, his intentions didn't appear to be nefarious, and he said that he wanted Flash to reactivate his turret system. Actually, that sounds nefarious as fuck, but she assumed that he was talking about the computer terminals she'd seen in some of the buildings nearby. So they reactivated all of the turrets, and as a thank you, he gave her a gun called Reba 2. Then they popped into Sandy Cove's convalescent home to have a look around. There were some very polite and helpful Mr. Handy attendants in there. Flash went around looting the rooms, which appeared to have belonged to some very eccentric residents. From upstairs, she heard the Mr. Handy on reception say cheerfully, "Ah, some more visitors," quickly followed by the sound of synth voices and fighting. She rushed back downstairs to find that synths had stormed in and taken over the building and killed all of the Mr. Handys for no reason at all. They'd even killed the pet cat. When they left the building, they were attacked by a group of robots and rust devils, which reminded Flash she's got a robot workbench. So she went back to 10 Pines Bluff and made herself a robot called Angeline and asked Piper to stay behind. She and Angeline went off and found Covenant. She took the safe test and got in. Everyone was irritatingly nice, so she knew something was up. A man called Honest Dan approached her and said that he was trying to find out what happened to Old Man Stockton's caravan, which had been attacked, and Stockton's daughter was missing. No one would tell her anything, so she stole a password to Jacob's computer and found out about the compound. She confronted Jacob, and he agreed to let her have a look around there with Honest Dan. Inside the compound, a guard called Manny said that he would take her to speak to the doctor. Every guard they passed on the way there addressed her by saying, "Stranger," which seemed like a really odd greeting. They reached Dr. Rosalind Chambers, who told Flash that they've been experimenting on people to develop a test which will be able to identify synths. In order to do this, the test subjects are tortured and eventually killed. She said that Stockton's daughter, who was locked in a cell, is in all likelihood a synth. Flash, being the head of the institute and also not particularly enjoying the torture and murder of innocent people, felt that this couldn't continue. Rosalind said, "Then you'll just have to kill me," so Flash obliged. All of the guards came running, and Flash threw plasma grenades at them down the corridor. She released Stockton's daughter and returned to Covenant, where everyone was hostile. She killed them all and dragged their corpses outside and dumped them in a big pile. Then she went back to Diamond City and sold the still intact Deathclaw egg to Wellingham so that he could make an omelette for a snooty man. That's all for this time. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the wasteland.
Cool. Thanks, Rebecca. So yeah, I do like stopping by Sandy Cove after you get to the get done with the Mirelurks, because it is a great place for loot. You pick up all kinds of cool stuff, but also you get a ton of chems if you get all the keys to the safes for the former residents.
I just ran through that place too quick.
Through the Sandy Cove?
What is the
Sorry.
Sandy Cove place again?
Yeah, explain.
Okay, so in that same area where the Witchcraft Museum is, Salem, on the other side of town, there's a convalescent home.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And so the convalescent home is called Shady Cove.
Okay, yeah. I've been there. That's the synths. Yeah, there's a bunch of synths in there.
Yeah, you end up fighting some synths that are searching through the place.
Yeah. Excellent. I do recall that one now that you brought it up. I was kind of confused there for a second. Yeah, there's lots of fun stuff going on over there. I've got my the lighthouse that was formerly run by the Children of Adam. That's just down the road a little bit there too, up on the coast.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty sweet that the people in Covenant were calling her stranger. She thought that was a strange greeting. Indeed it is.
Mm-hmm.
They like to mark you as an outsider as much as possible in that Covenant quest.
Right. Up until the time that you side with them.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Then
everything's great.
Everything's cool. But for anybody playing an Institute character or a Railroad character, it's your duty to stop them from what they're doing to the Sense. So for the Railroad, it's because you want to save the Sense. And if you're with the Institute, it's because they're damaging your property.
Yeah.
And you don't want them to find out your secret.
I find that interesting with the Institute, with all their synth retrieval and stuff. Yeah, you'd want to put an end to that. But for some reason, I still don't think that they give a crap about synths. I guess they do. You know what I mean? They have to, at least a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's their property.
That's why they put the code word into to shut them down so they can retrieve them to bring them home. I mean, So yeah, I've never really thought about that. So from Railroad or Institute, you got to put it down. So what is the typical? Would the Minutemen versus Brotherhood have a logical side to fall on? Brotherhood would want the tech, so they'd be like, kill the synths, of course.
Right. Yeah, and the Minutemen would most likely not like the fact that they kill a lot of people in the process of
they wouldn't
hunting down the synths. They're not.
They wouldn't like murder. That's no matter the knowledge gained, that is not a good enough reason to kill people.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not so worried about protecting synths, but they're definitely concerned for protecting the citizens of the Commonwealth.
Yeah, and even one citizen mistaken as a synth is probably too big of a risk. They would say.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Great. Let's see what else we have for Rebecca. She said Flash kept the egg to prevent a birth of another Deathclaw. I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
She just didn't want another one running around the damn countryside to kill someone else. It's a good way to play it.
Yep.
I also liked that she said that Piper just sat on the floor and didn't provide any help. Just sat in front of the Deathclaw. Then I was thinking, is there like a doorway or something? Because she said she kept running in and throwing a grenade and then running back out. Is there like a doorway that the Deathclaw can't get through or something there?
Yeah, the one that you come up from downstairs. You
The
come
hallway.
up. Yeah, you come up those stairs. The Deathclaw won't come down those stairs.
He
Okay.
never came into the hallway for me, so I could run out and then run back to the little. There's like a hallway and there's like a. Is it a bookcase that's right there?
Yeah, I've had him come around that corner.
Have you really?
Oh yeah.
Oh dang.
Really nice. You also said you built Angeline, and I guess that's because Piper spent too much time sitting on the floor. So tell me about your robot builds, Rebecca. When you put together a robot, what does Angeline look like? What sort of robot mods do you like with arms and legs and weapons? Do you do armor? What sort of body style? Everything. I always I spent too much time with my tinkering with robots and building on settlements and stuff. I haven't done with this character. I haven't done it nearly as much, but I've been wanting to mess with my robots again. So tell me a little bit about your robots next time you write in. Thanks, Rebecca.
All right. Next up, we have the ongoing tale of Timmy.
Kia ora koto, everybody. Steve in New Zealand here. So, where is Timmy? Timmy had destroyed the Institute with the help of the Brotherhood. He had returned back from Far Harbor, and I had taken him back to Sanctuary Hills because last feedback it was suggested that he could replace using his power armor by using the freefall legs that he had picked up. I thought that sounded pretty cool. So I had put them on him and added a Nuka Cherry Cola paint job on them. I think that came from one of the free Creation Club paint jobs that I had picked up along the way. I thought it was interesting that someone had thought to do a paint job for them, and so I was headed to Nuka World. It was going to work out great. I wasn't sure of his motivation to become a raider, though. But then tragedy struck. I had an issue with my solid state drive, that's my main computer OS drive, and I ended up having to replace it. And because I had to reinstall the OS from scratch, Vortex, my mod organizer, stopped recognizing how everything was installed, even though I had it on a separate drive for my games. So I decided that, well, that settled it. Timmy was retiring to Sanctuary Hills, and I would start a new character for a Raider playthrough. I revved up the old random character generator and stopped on the first Raiderish name I hit, which was actually only like roll number 2. So let me introduce you to Slinger. She has starting stats of Strength of 2, Perception 2, Endurance 4, Charisma 6, Intelligence 4, Agility 5, and a Luck of 5. Pretty rounded out there. Perks of Armorer, Rifleman, Life Giver, Black Widow, the ever-popular Vans, Ninja, and Bloody Mess. Pretty solid roll. Nothing else, none of the other rolls really mattered because I was already going to go with the pack, and I was ignoring the Commonwealth to get over to Nuka World almost right off the bat. So, yep, Slinger ignored Codsworth and stocked up from the various ammunition bags around Sanctuary Hills, the one by the statue and the one up on the rooftop there. We did run over to the scrapyard to grab the Fat Man, and I'm thankful that I did. We'll get to that later. I first worked my way down to Nuka World slowly, taking out raiders along the way, bypassing Concord and Preston, so we didn't even talk to them, ignoring all of that stuff. We got to the tram terminal, and I had to figure out a way past those gunners there. They're fairly high level, and they have an assaultron with them. Luckily, one of the gunners on the outskirts I was able to take out, and that gunner had a hunting rifle on them with a scope. I took Rifleman as one of my first perks, and I also had Bloody Mess and Life Giver because, like I said, I'd work and let's see. I did die quite a bit, but I was able to sneak around and snipe them from a distance. The Assaultron was another matter. That thing was way too powerful for me to take out at my low level. I was able to sprint and get into the tram station. It followed me in there, and I just shot at it and threw some grenades, and I ended up running back out, and it followed me back out, but then I ran back in and got away somehow. So that's all good. The guy that talks to you there was dead due to my back and forth shooting and grenade throwing, but you don't need him. You can just get the password off of him and log into the computer there, fire up the tram, and head to Nuka World anyway. So I was only at level 4 there at that point, I think. And so started working through the gauntlet, going very, very slowly, taking my time. I didn't hurry at all. I did die multiple times, but I finally made it. I used Ray's trick on Coulter, so that's where you go in with the squirt gun, and then you have the fat man because you can grab the nuke before the final there and take some chems like Psycho and Med-X. I had a crit saved up, and so I hit him in the head with it while he was weakened from the squirt gun. Even though I still had to attempt it a couple of times, and even a nuke to the head didn't totally finish him off. By the way, he does stim pack himself and heals while you're trying to kill him, so he's a tough overboss there. Gage ended up taking me to Fizztop Mountain, and he told me what was going on. He had me go introduce myself to the 3 rival gangs. Here's a little tip for you. When talking to Mason of the pack, there is a point where you can do a charisma check and intimidate him by saying, "Be a good dog and do as you're told." If you pass it, he gives you the problem solver. It's a unique handmade rifle with the Furious legendary effect that causes the damage of each round to increase with each consecutive hit on the same target. It's the same as the splatter cannon, but you don't have to pay for it. It's an excellent weapon, works really well with my Rifleman perk. It has that crazy pack paint jobby on it too. It uses the 7.62 ammo, which I am purchasing from a guy at the swap meet area there. That's really the only place to find the ammo, so thankfully there's at least 3 vendors there that sell 7.62. One of the vendors even regularly has 900 plus rounds of it, and they all respawn fairly quickly. I'm doing my best to find all the cappies without looking them up. I know that's one of the quests for next feedback, not this feedback, but I really only never knew where one was in the area I cleared out first, which was Dry Rock Gulch. Watch out for the cave crickets there. I had a hell of a time with them. I had to back up, shoot, all the way to Fizztop Grill, very, very far away from the area. Even with Gage helping. Yep, I'm taking Gage along with me for the ride. He's going to be my companion and romance for Slinger. We also headed over to the Galactic Zone and mostly cleared it out. I'm missing a couple of star cores there, so I got a little hunting to do. I think next we may do Safari Adventures. I ended up giving Dry Rock Gulch to the pack, and I am going to give Galactic Zone to the Disciples. I'm going to leave out the operators. I like them the least of the raider gangs. So, yeah, I didn't do any of the assigned quests this week, but it was really fun getting started on Nuka World at such a low level and basically ignoring everything in the Commonwealth. I'm not going to go back there at all until it comes time to establish some raider outposts there. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up making a settlement at the Nuka World Red Rocket, but with my own life and Fallout 76 coming up, maybe not. I'm enjoying the previews of Fallout 76 we're seeing. The new videos are out, and I think I'm going to enjoy it. I guess I should get around to buying it. I still haven't yet. I have put some work into a random stat generator for Fallout 76. I have a couple of details to hash out, but the basics of the special stats are done. Does anybody know how to ensure the total of account if statement value doesn't exceed the specific number when using the rand between function in Google Sheets? Anyone? Bueller? 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 Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody, and I'll see you in the wasteland.
9 times. No, nobody. 9 times? Come on.
Totally lost on me.
He's tossing out Ferris Bueller Day Off references.
Yeah, references.
I'm answering with another Ferris Bueller's Day Off reference. Sorry. It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
Oh, goodness. R.I.P. Timmy.
I know. That happened fast. It's kind of sudden.
Ray, can you layman's terms explain what happened?
I didn't write that note down. So he had. So what happened to Timmy again?
I don't know. Mods or something.
Mods happened.
He had something saved somewhere.
Oh no! He had to replace his hard drive, and Vortex wouldn't recognize it. I bet you could probably fix that by just reloading. So, because Vortex puts a copy of the files in the folder, in the data folder, in the game file, and so if it thinks that they're still there, then it's not going to try to put them back in. So it's got to be some kind of syncing thing, because they keep Vortex keeps the actual files in a separate folder, and then just puts puts a link to that file in the data folder. So it's like a symlink or a hyperlink, so similar to that kind of thing. That it uses so that it is easy for it to, revert to a clean install. So if it's expecting that those links are already there and they're not, then it won't put them back in.
And technical question number 2, do you know his answer for Google Sheets if statement?
I think I have that formula that he's looking for, because when I was working on the sheet that we did before for the bobbleheads, I had just kind of queried a bunch of Google forums and got people to send me various formulas, and I think that was one of them that I had asked for.
Well, fucking small world. Awesome.
So I'll have to dig around and see and send it to him.
That's great that he's already doing a little bit of work on a character generator for 76. That's something that we'll have to get into here, Ray, after we're done discussing Steve's feedback.
Yep.
Steve said he still has some star cores to find. Fuck those star cores. I don't know why. I know they're more concentrated in area, but I think they're more annoying than the Baron's Eye stones in Skyrim. I know other people would disagree, but there's just so damn many of them.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
They are pretty annoying.
What was the 762 named weapon that he mentioned?
Problem solver.
I can never find enough of that 762 ammo. Those vendors inside must be... I don't know why I just never thought to buy it.
Yeah, you pretty much have to. You just can't. You can't pick up enough.
Yeah. Why is it so rare? Seems like a lot of people use that kind of weapon.
Well, I mean, it's not rare in Nuka World, but if it takes 20 bullets to kill somebody, and they've only got 10 on them, you're steadily going to go down.
And then vendors throughout the rest of the game, will they also start carrying 762 once you unlock that from Nuka World?
Not without a mod.
Not without a mod, so it's only in Nuka World.
Yep.
Is there an equivalent to that in Far Harbor? Like what, the harpoon gun or something?
No. What is that one? It's the hyphenated one. Again, I can't look it up without dropping, but yeah, there's an ammo type in Far Harbor that's the same way. The one that goes into the rifleman rifle, the lever action rifle.
Oh, yeah. I forget what it's called, but I know what you're talking about now. And so that's only available in Nuka World only.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Unless you got the mod.
So, R.I.P. Timmy, that's too bad. But he went to the random character generator. That's fun. Got a new character. He's doing Nuka World Raiders only. Was Timmy tasked to do that as well, did he say? Is that why he's decided to do that?
No, I think it wasn't in Timmy's nature to have been involved with the Raiders.
Kill all the Raiders, yeah.
So in order to play, through that, since he'd already had that mod lockup, he just needed to start something fresh. And a heck of a challenge. I've seen videos on people that have done the gauntlet at level 1, but it definitely takes a lot of work.
It's hard work to get to the gauntlet at level 1. You know what I mean? Like you had to, when you snuck to the FMS North Star.
Oh yeah, you got to make sure you're not tripped into any locations.
I'd get to level. If you wanted to get there at level 1, you got to not discover anything. You got to not fight anything.
Yeah.
You don't want to collect any XP. So I commended them just getting to the entry, still at level 1. That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Unless they have some sort of PC ability to just pop up anywhere.
Yeah, no, and they never use that. The hard thing about Nuka World is those gunners outside will follow you into the station. And so you can't, because a lot of times you can go someplace and, if you can sneak to the door and get through before, you take too many bullets, they don't follow you into the building. And you're okay.
That's really shitty of them to follow you into the building. That sucks. That really sucks.
So,
I went over to Nuka World like a week ago or a few days ago just to get the whole Cappy thing started. And I just ran right up to that guy, didn't even let him talk, and just shot him square in the face. I was like, I've never done that before, but I was just like, no, I'm not dealing with you right now. Yeah. And it was just like, it sparked like something that said like, some sort of quest failed, and then whatever, go ahead, proceed. I was like, oh, okay. It didn't give me any sort of static about it, really. Just like, go ahead, have fun. All right, let's go to Nuka World.
Yeah. So, and he got on his roll, he got bans.
Oh, yuck.
So well, I finally took my 2 levels of bans.
Hey, you get that second level, that perception is great.
Sure.
I was just thinking if Fallout 76 their map is so damn big, I might have to take Vans if that is a card. I assume it's a card that they'll have. They can only have that. Oh, he mentioned the free fall legs that we mentioned last week, that he could use those free fall legs as his actual legs and wouldn't have to use power armor anymore. But you can do... What paint job did he say that he did? He did a paint job that I thought would be only available for power armor for some reason.
Yeah, it was a Creation Club mod that he had.
Oh, okay. There you go. Creation Club. I haven't looked into that recently. I know, Ray, you don't really care about that so much. You don't look into it very often. It's been like pink and purple paint jobs and stuff recently. Haven't looked in the last couple weeks, though, to see if anything new has popped up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... I always know when there's something new in the Creation Club because they've done an update, and I've got to reload my script extenders.
No, that sucks. Sarah, does PlayStation play well with the Creation Club stuff?
Yeah. I haven't really done that much with it, but I've downloaded a couple free things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Downloading paint jobs and such.
Yeah.
You better download stuff. It's your fault we have to put up with it in the first place.
Yeah. That's the only reason I created it. Yeah. But thank God they might start playing nice with the multiplayer stuff or the cross-platform stuff.
Yeah, we'll certainly see.
I hope so. Hope they open up to that. And Steve, last thing I wrote was like, your difficulty must be up too high if those fucking crickets are chasing you up to Fizz Top Mountain. You need to tone your difficulty down a little bit, man. That's crazy. Those crickets are super annoying, though.
And they're hard to hit.
Yeah. And especially bloodworms are sucking on you at the same time. Gotta watch out. All right, Steve. Thank you for the cool feedback. So character generator, Ray, he was talking about that. That's been one of my main concerns, of course, with Fallout 76 coming out. And since we've discovered that you will not be given a base level of starter points to invest in your specials, so we're going to need to discuss how that is going to affect how we allot character assignments with perks and whatnot. Now, I know that you said that we'll be okay. We have enough stuff here to dig in and sort of hit the ground running. So I was just kind of wondering, with everything that you've watched so far, first of all, what are your first impressions of anything that you've seen from this Fallout 76 weekend of the NDAs being lifted? And then how do you think this is going to work into our character creation?
Well, I mean, I certainly think that there's going to be some stuff that we can work with. There's definitely quest lines. There's factions. So once we get those sussed out, we'll have that to work with. And then the way that the specials work, in order to create the character diversity, we can, instead of saying you're going to have a strength of 5, a endurance of 2, we can have it set. The generator will set the specials that you'll be able to add points to. So you can only add points to perception and intelligence for this character, and then this one only gets endurance and luck, that kind of thing. We'll see how that would play out, because we can't really control the perks, because you never know what perk cards you're going to get. I think that'll be one way that that we can manage it.
So that would mean that you would always have some specials that would be 0 or 1, or whatever
1.
The lowest level is.
Yeah, 1 is the base level.
Huh. And something I was also thinking about, it seems like with these cards that you can swap out pretty much anytime you want, that you are not limiting yourself to one character role, that you can have, probably up to 4 distinct character builds up your sleeve based on what card loadout you have prepared. You know what I mean? So each person could have 4 different characters almost, except for you can swap out the cards, but your specials are permanent, correct? You can't change around your permanent levels.
Right. Once you've selected a point in a special, it's there to stay.
Okay. So it's not really like 4 different character builds then, because you only have the freedom of the different cards.
Right. Within the specials that you have advanced.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise it'll just be the level 1 card for that particular special. Yeah. You can have different level 1 perks within. So if your strength is capped at 1, you can have a variety of strength perks to choose from for the whatever works best for the moment, but they're only going to be level 1 perks.
Yeah. Huh. Something I was also thinking about, and this is probably insane and not necessary at all, but instead of just rolling 1 character, you roll your team. And we have the generator roll 4 characters, but each of those 4 characters are distinct from each other and which specials they would be assigned.
You could certainly do that too.
But then would you have to depend on those people being around every time you wanted to play? Because that would be super shitty.
Yeah, everyone's going to have a different... That's the hard part.
Well, I mean, so that's really only if you're really getting out and questing, because you're most likely you're going to build a base, and then you'll spend a certain amount of that time collecting junk and bringing it back so that you can continue to build out your base. So if everybody from the team can't join at the same time, you can still contribute based on whatever your particular skills are, when everybody else is away. If you've got somebody that is the team hunter, they can go around, killing squirrels and stocking the fridge with squirrel on a stick. But the next person, may be the one that builds things, and so they're out collecting wood and metal scraps from the surrounding area. And then when everybody can play, you get together and then you go
go out on a quest
together. Yeah.
So, okay, that's something interesting. Out of a four-person team, what do you think the 4 distinct character builds that would best, I don't know, you know what I mean? Sort of make a super team. It seems to me like I don't know if we've mentioned it, but the charisma is probably the most important thing, and the fact that one of the cards, I'm not sure exactly how it works, either one of the levels or one of the cards allows you to share your perk card and apply it to everyone in your party. Now, I see that being very useful for lockpicking and hacking specifically.
And but it could be a lot of different things. It's so you would have somebody that would be high charisma, somebody that would be high strength. The high intelligence is going to unlock crafting ability. So you'll have to have a high intelligence person in the group.
Yeah.
So
see, with the team of 4, you could have each person pick 2 specials and only have one special category that overlaps between 2 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you could cover, if everyone is high in 2 different categories, you could cover, as long as everyone's playing together. You can
you've got a well-rounded team. Yeah.
Now, speaking of playing together at the same time, Ray, this charisma character, if they're not at home and they're not playing that night, they're not logged into the server, does their card still apply to me that gave me the power to unlock something?
So that's still TBD, but I would imagine it would.
Okay.
Because they have to recognize the fact that, the team isn't always going to be able to play together all the time.
Mm-hmm. So that'll be good. That was something I was concerned about.
Yeah.
Sarah, have you watched any of the video footage?
I'm a bad girl. I have not. This is all Greek to me.
There was a lot of crazy shit that came out this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks absolutely beautiful.
You think so?
I think so. And, it's interesting to see how many of the assets from Fallout 4 are showing up in 76. I mean, you can see, they're just directly the same.
What
the same,
specifically? Like the trees or something?
The mutant hounds, not the mutant hounds, but the regular, feral dogs.
Uh-huh.
Those are exactly the same. I think it was, I think I might have watched them build something, and, the bed was the, exact same bed from Fallout.
Exact same bed, yeah. A lot of the building components look similar.
Yeah.
The interface for the building looks like it's changed. It's gone vertical instead of being at the bottom of the screen. Looks like it's along the top of the screen. And it drops down. Does a drop down menu to the left now? And
yeah, so
each thing that drops down has a variation or something.
Yeah. It definitely some interesting, twists on things. I think that, having to go to a gun bench to repair your weapon is much more realistic than, combining, 4 rifles into one, kind of a thing. I think it's a more true to life mechanic.
Yeah. The only problem with being a true to life mechanic there, Ray, is that it's not going to help me lighten my load in the middle of when I'm running around in the wasteland. In New Vegas, I'd have like 12 of some crappy rifle, and I just condense them all down to one, and all of a sudden half of my carry weight is back.
Yeah.
But another thing, Ray, that is great, so wonderful. I don't know why I'm so excited about this, because it's totally unnecessary. You don't need to break everything down into its components in order to use things in your workbench. But much like they have a dump all of your junk into the workshop button, they will also have a command where you can break every item of junk down to its components automatically.
That's so nice. I like that.
I don't know why I'm so excited about that, but I'm like, oh, that'll be so much cleaner.
It'll be nice because
Yeah.
right now, I mean, if you're out looking for screws, I mean, I just happen to know that I need a desk fan, if I need screws, but at the same time, like it would be nice to go to my inventory and just see like, oh, look, I have 6 screws instead of being like, oh, how many desk fans do I have?
Exactly. You scroll through and look at all the different random items that have screws,
Right.
and you just have to be like guesstimate. Oh, I think, I don't know, about 30, 40. I don't know, somewhere there. You're right. It'd be so much nicer to break that down and see it automatically. Another thing, right? There's a few things that are going to change up because the game won't pause now.
Right.
We've got a VATS, a new VATS system. Now, I don't know. Are you a VATS guy? You like to do blitz and stuff, so I assume you use some VATS, right?
Yeah. When I'm in melee, I do, and it looks like you get a little bit of that effect using VATS with melee in 76. But it's definitely a lot different using guns. So that'll be interesting. I typically don't use VATS with a gun at all.
No. You know me, I'm a huge VATS fan.
Yeah.
So now,
the one big killer though is you don't pause the game when you look at your Pip-Boy.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah. So the game does not pause.
Yeah. Oh, weird.
So you better make sure you're safe.
Yeah.
Before you pull that thing up.
So what they've done, Sarah, is they've met us halfway, and they now have a new Pip-Boy HUD that is like half transparent that you can see through.
Nice.
So you can see when something's about to hit you, and you can back out of your Pip-Boy quickly to defend yourself.
Okay.
So unless there is something you can do more in depth in your actual Pip-Boy screen, I can't ever see myself not using the one that is see-through. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, if just go back to VATS for just a second, it did look weird a little bit. Any sort of most of the comments that I was seeing about it online were all negative. How VATS will be absolutely useless now, and how it doesn't look like it'll be worth anything. But my thing is, I'm such a terrible aim. I'm not a Twitch shooter that it auto aims for me, and so that is the whole purpose of VATS. I don't generally use VATS to slow time down. Like, that's not the reason I used VATS in the first place. It wasn't to slow time down. It's because I'm such a fucking terrible shot that I'd be hitting the backside of the wall and not the person I'm aiming at if I didn't use VATS. So it's just a targeting system that auto locks. And I'm like, oh, that is the fucking best because I'm a terrible shot. So I didn't understand why people were being so upset with the VAT system. It auto locks, you know what I mean? And if it's only a 30% shot, it still is centered on the thing. So disengage your VATs and then kick on your sights, and you're already auto locked on it. You know what I mean? Like I do that
that
all.
was
Go ahead.
that was really, you know, what most of the comments were, was it really made it easy to pull your shot together. And actually, in most cases, that, you know, they were saying that they would hit VATs, you know, to get the shot lined up, and then pop out of VATs again and start shooting.
Yeah, that's exactly what popped to my mind when I was watching that. I was like, oh, that's perfect. You can just center on your target, back out of VATs if it's a low percentage, and you know that if you get your cursor on it, you have a higher percentage chance than the 10 or 20% chance it was showing you. At least you're targeted towards it. I didn't get why people were complaining about it so much. Did you see people being disparaging towards the VAT system, Ray?
No, I didn't really see anybody that had anything negative to say about it.
Oh, good. Another thing people were sort of iffy on is the solo play. What do you think about what you've seen about being able to play the game by yourself?
Well, I didn't see anything that would really, you know, be much different than playing solo in Fallout 4. You know, you're going to have to, you know, find a way to deal with, you know, a large number of enemies on your own. I mean, I do that myself because I don't play with companions.
Yeah.
And
is that a difference, or will they? If you stumble into a zone to a random occurrence, will they calculate based on how many people are with you together in the party, how many bad guys they send at you? If you only have one person, will they only send the 2 or 3? And if you have 2 people with you, they'll send 5 or 6. You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
So
I think the number of bad guys is the number of bad guys.
It's just going to be and is this randomly occurring events mostly across the game, or scripted a lot of the time? What did you foresee?
It looks like a lot of stuff is scripted, because there's a lot of quests. You know, there's a lot of quests, you know, built into the game, even though there's no live NPCs.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, there's enough other ways to communicate quests.
That was interesting how they were saying the quests are being passed into the game, like through terminals a lot, through robots evidently, through finding holotapes from someone, finding notes on a table or a dead body or something, finding a dead body itself, and it'll have clues to itself that will spark off a quest. Now, why was it of utmost importance for them to remove all the NPCs, Ray?
So I think it simplifies things, because now you know that, you know, any live human being that you encounter in the game is another player. So there's no question about, you know, whether or not they're, you know, is it a scripted character or is it a character in the game?
All right. Did you watched some of the gameplay video? What appears above someone on your team? What appears above their head when you see them on your screen?
It looks like their name. I think that's a pretty standard, pretty standard deal for multiplayers.
So explain to me why they couldn't just have a different marking for NPCs that shows that they're not human players. I don't understand why that was.
But I think some of it is because those markers don't show up from long distances.
I'm just saying they could just plop a marker from for NPCs. They could just put it from wherever.
Yeah. I suppose.
I don't.
But why do we really care?
That some people are really bent out of shape about that, right? They don't think that they can play a Fallout game solo in a multiplayer environment without NPCs to give them their assignments, stuff to do, the quests.
I guess I just don't know because most of the NPCs in my game are dead.
Yeah, when they're expendable, Ray, like when you think of them as basically robots like you do, it doesn't matter. You can just do away with them, right?
So, yeah, for me, this is just going to be a natural progression.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I think it's great that you can fast travel to your companions.
Yeah, that definitely makes it handy.
Now, they have a new fast travel system where they charge you a small amount of caps. If you fast travel anywhere besides to your companions, you can travel to any of your companions or people on your team for free. But to fast travel anywhere else, it'll cost you a few caps. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's actually kind of cool to put a punishment towards fast traveling. That might force me to explore a little bit more, especially early on. Another thing I noticed is one Kim at a time, Ray.
Yeah, that's certainly going to impact the way that some people play. It's an interesting choice because I mean there really isn't anything terribly unnatural about taking more than one Kim at a time.
They just don't want people to be able to turn into Super Hulk all of a sudden to go after and this PvP stuff. They're really worried about this PvP stuff, how people are going to behave.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the griefing, how are they going to deal with this griefing stuff everyone's so worried about, Ray?
Can someone tell me what griefing is?
So in multiplayer games, there are people who enjoy tormenting other players. And so they will, they'll pick somebody out and they will just hunt them down and kill them continuously. And so that player respawns and that griefer is right there waiting for them and kills them again. And then they respawn and they're right back there killing them again. And so, the person that is getting griefed has no way of, getting it back into the game. And so they just leave. And then the griefer picks on somebody else until they come leave the game. And they've certainly taken some precautions in this game to cut down on that. And one of the things that they really pushed was making it not profitable. But unfortunately, very, 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 very few of the griefers do it for in-game profit.
Yeah,
they don't want your stuff. They don't want your money. They don't want your caps. They just want to give you a hard time.
They want your misery.
Yep.
That's all they
want. And so, they, even with all the steps that they've taken, they can't completely stop that from happening. They've given you some options as far as, being able to, spawn into different places and also be able to spawn into sneak. And make it harder for the griefer to find you. So I think that Bethesda's done everything they can, and put everything in place to to make it harder to be griefed, but there's no way in the world to stop it completely.
Why can't you just block that person's IP address on their Xbox or whatever?
Because
they have that?
They'll just start another account.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's what you need your buddies for.
Ray, in order to start a battle with someone, say, what if this person hasn't been griefing anyone up to this point? They happen to attack you, and the game is set up in a way that unless you attack back, it's very difficult for them to do you any real damage and take you down. Like, you have to actually return fire in order to actually sort of get the actual fight going.
Right.
So what if you decide, I'm going to return fire this one time, and they kill me, and then all of a sudden they've developed. Okay, now they've got a vendetta because, what if I instigated and attacked them? They had nothing to do with it, and I just randomly attacked the wrong guy on the wrong day. Now he's tracking me down and killing me all the time. Can I, on the second or third subsequent time, have the no, I'm not interacting with you, therefore you're not doing as much damage? Or once you have started that interaction in PvP with a player, it doesn't matter if you're always in combat with them. You know what I mean?
Well, so there is a revenge system, and I didn't really dig too deep into that. There is a pacifist. Oh, good grief! It's too late at night for me to be saying pacifist. Mode that you can enter into, and that eliminates all PvP from the game for you. So that's particularly handy to be in if you're in a very heavily populated area and there's a big fight, like if one of the bigger bosses, like the Grafton Monster or something like that, and there's a bunch of people around trying to kill it. If you flip yourself into pacifist mode, then you can't accidentally shoot somebody and have them, fight you back.
And that's something that will be super easy to toggle on and off mid battle or whatever.
They made it sound like it, yeah.
Interesting. That's nice. I'm probably the type of person who will leave that on all the time, because I doubt I will spend any of my time fighting other real people. Very, very little of my time will be spent doing that, I bet.
Yeah.
But in a case that we might have to do that sort of thing, Ray, is they sort of made more of a distinction between your camp, which you build your camp, and actual bases or settlements or defense areas. I'm not even sure. Could you expand a little bit on what the camp system is, and then what the difference is between that and the base system?
Right. So the camp system is your personal living space, and so you can build that anywhere. It's you've got this little workbench that you carry around with you to set up your camp. They have settlements in the game that are fully fleshed out buildings with a regular workbenches. It's the workbench from Fallout 4, and those are settlements that you can take, but you have to hold them. They make it sound like there's going to be both monster attacks and the potential for another group of players to come in and try to take that camp from you. And so in that case, you would have to fight to protect the settlement.
Meaning that they're probably putting some sort of resource there to make it beneficial to hold.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interesting. What do you, just off the top of your head, randomly, I have no idea. What do you think a valuable resource worth holding like that would be? What do you think they're doing there?
I mean, it could be water. It could be minerals.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Non-irradiated water or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So, it could be a greenhouse, so lots of different things.
Interesting. Very cool. And another place where there could be a lot of hand-to-hand combat, or not hand-to-hand necessarily, but face-to-face combat with other people, is after a nuke explosion. Did you watch any of the nuke explosion footage?
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't really see much about, what that unlocks, because basically everybody was just running into it and watching their characters die quickly from
exactly
plus 70 radiation.
I wish that someone would have done something, because I watched a couple of different videos, and it showed the animation of the mushroom cloud, which I saw lots of complaints about, which I thought it looked fine, but it could have looked better. Some of the graphics stuff, I understand being in sort of I don't want to say rough around the edges form, but like a not finalized version at this point. But everyone who wanted to go see the nuke, they just ran into the mushroom. They ran into the blast zone. No one rad-X'd up. No one took any rad away with them. And everyone died immediately. It was just a super highly irradiated area. So I didn't get any sort of idea about what's going to go on in those irradiated zones.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they're many glowing seas. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's, there was certainly a limitation to what these guys had access to. They had only optimized a small portion of the map, and so people that ran off, to far corners of the map, we're having frame rate issues and problems with the video on it, because it hadn't been optimized yet.
Said it was choppy and stuff. I thought it was interesting how they organized the event itself, Ray. It was they had 4-person teams, so it seemed like each of the reviewers were sort of teamed up into groups with each other, and then they also had one guide who was a Bethesda employee who was sort of showing them around and showing them the ropes and stuff.
Yeah.
I just thought that was fun that they had a little guide.
Yeah, and it was, I heard a couple of comments about how, because it was a press event, there were people there that really had never played a Bethesda game before. And so these YouTubers were
so they were running around with noobs. That's crazy.
Yeah. And so, asking, to anybody that's played the game, really ridiculous questions. But, so Bethesda had to balance those two groups. They had the people that were, hardcore, Fallout and Skyrim players that, have made thousands of hours of lore videos and game videos and run throughs and all kinds of stuff like that. And so you had to keep it interesting for them, but then you also had to make it so that these other journalists that had no idea whatsoever would also be able to have a positive experience playing the game.
I would hate to get teamed up with one of those people if you're really trying to get a good feel for the game.
Well, but the good thing was that you could run off and leave your team behind. Yeah.
See, that's one thing. I don't remember if it was Mr. Matty Plays or Many a True Nerd, but someone was talking about how they ran off from their group and spent like a good hour or so just running off exploring, and how that they found plenty to do, stumbling upon holotapes and dead bodies, and as a single player game. So some of the people that I watched, I watched a Fudge Muppet video or two. I watched a Gopher video, an IGN video or two. Many a True Nerd. Ray, I think you posted that one in the group.
I didn't post the video, but I did say that by far was my favorite one. I'm a big fan of John.
What were a couple of the highlights from that one that you liked?
Oh gosh, it's been
or tell me what you like about, or tell me what you like about John.
He just has a really fun style, to the way that he approaches things, and gets very excited about the game. When he's, a lot of, if something's overpowering him and chasing him, he's, screaming like a little girl. But yeah, it's he's entertaining.
Yes.
And he says flipping all the time.
Flipping. No, you gotta keep it clean if you want to get those endorsements for the kiddos. I also watched some Oxhorn videos and Ziggy D Gaming. Those were all posted to the Reddit thread. If you guys are looking to watch any of these videos, Jen was nice enough to post the Reddit link into our Facebook group. So I've got that saved in my Facebook. So I've been going back and
that made it really easy to look at the stuff.
Yeah, had it everything in one place on Reddit.
One of the things that a couple of the guys talked about was the fact that it resonated with me quite soundly, was they're PC gamers and they had to play on the Xbox during this event. And just the awkward experience of trying to figure out how to use a controller when you've never used one before. I can relate to that so well.
You can relate to that. Yeah, I thought that was really hilarious. That's a really interesting event. That was at the hotel that is probably one of the more main centerpieces of the game.
Right.
What was it? Greenbrier or something. What was it called?
Yeah, the Greenbrier
Hotel. Yeah, that's really awesome. Now, Ray, you mentioned earlier that they have factions, but with dead NPCs and robots only, how are we doing factions? How's that going to work?
Well, same way with everything else. They're giving you quests posthumously. So the way that it looks like it's structured is that these are people that were here before, between in that 20-year period where we were in the vault, and they didn't survive, but they were making an attempt to make it. I suspect that they're probably the source of a lot of the Scorched.
Oh yeah. That's something I wanted to bring up too. The Scorched, it seems like, will take over a lot of the roles of their raiders and gunners and such.
Right.
Now they are not quite feral.
Yeah, well, they're like half ghouls.
They can wield firearms and melee weapons and everything.
Yep.
So they can attack you with weapons of any kind, but they still aren't people, I guess. Somewhere in between the ghoul and the person. Because it's only, maybe that just hasn't had enough time to set in all the way. It's
Right.
only 20 years or whatever you said. Did watch one video called Fallout Now How's Dragons. Did you watch that?
No, I didn't see that one.
There is now a new monster called a Scorch Beast, which is really fun. I can't wait for everyone to run into that one.
Yeah, that's the giant bat, right?
Yeah, it does look a lot like a Skyrim dragon. It's really, really fun. One last thing I wanted to mention about 76 that I thought was a really good point was that the food menu, when you bring that up when you're cooking in 76, you won't see absolutely every recipe just sort of lightly grayed out that is possible in the game, because the person whose video I was watching made the point, you spoil absolutely everyone who reads the list about what animals they're going to run into later in that area.
Yeah.
If you're just starting a game and you open up the cooking zone in Fallout 4, you're like, oh, I see later on I'm going to run into this, and I'm going to run into rad scorpions and death claws and mirelurks, because you just see all those names in your menu already. So that's one thing that 76 is not going to let you see, is they're not going to tip their hat to what beasts you're going to be able to cook. So I thought that was a really good move.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks like they're really pushing, all their games, they push discovery. All the Radiance quests that you take in Fallout 4, all the fetch quests that you do in Skyrim, they're all aimed at making you get out and explore the world and discover, these things on the map that they work so hard to put in there. And they don't want the game to be on rails for you. They want you to work and discover and find things. And so in 76, you're not going to know how to do very much. You're going to have to go learn and discover recipes and find schematics and stuff like that in order to to be able to advance your skills in the game.
I saw that there are going to be Skyrim-style treasure maps in the game. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean?
I didn't see that one.
But you know what I mean by Skyrim-style treasure maps? Or Red Dead Redemption also did use this method, where they don't give you a map with an X on the spot. They give you like a drawing of a location, and
right,
you
like
just have to you just have to randomly recognize where you are and be like, oh fuck, that's the place from the treasure map. I knew I know this specific weird outline of a mountain or something. It's such a weird way to draw a treasure map. But I saw that they're gonna drop those in there. Did we mention specials go up to 15?
I think we did early on, because that was one of the bits of information that
we knew before.
Yeah.
And one of the big things with our Fallout 4 random character generator was that it would never allow one of your perks roll to be less, or more than 2 perks away from whatever special stat you rolled. I don't think that's something we're going to have to consider this time, is it?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Because we won't be able to designate perks because there's no way of knowing what cards people will get.
Yeah. Interesting. I still want to do something with the cards on the generator, though. You know what I mean? Like,
once we start playing around with it, we'll see what what angles we can spin.
I also saw that there's a paper bag of dropped items upon your death.
Right.
So the other people can't pick it up, and you just get a quest marker that points you back to that location where you can pick up your paper bag of your dropped items. That is how they got around you not losing your stuff upon your death. You actually do lose it if you don't go pick it up again.
Right.
But
and
no one else can pick that up.
So that that'll create some interesting situations because if you died in the middle of a super mutant camp, your bag is in the middle of a super mutant camp.
Yeah, it's just sitting there, and they're looking at this paper bag, being like, "When is this gringo gonna come back and get this paper bag?"
So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like they've done a really good job, and
yeah,
so it's got a lot of stuff that I'm just glad we know where squirrels came from now.
What? Oh, okay, get into that.
So, running around in the hills of West Virginia are chickens and squirrels and beavers and possums and other delicacies of the Appalachians. And so,
any iguanas?
No iguanas.
Oh.
Still a big mystery.
Is iguana still gross?
Yeah. So, and iguana is the one that that we know is people.
That's what I was gonna say. Iguanas are people.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah. But yeah, but now we know where all the squirrel bits are coming from.
So people were bringing caravan style squirrels to the Commonwealth, to the DC area.
Well, if you're going to go trade, you've got those trade caravans going all over. They talk about it. When in the quest where you first meet Ada in the Mechanist DLC, their group of traders were from outside of the Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm. And Pat said that just the other day in his new Let's Play Fallout of Fallout 3 that he just ran into the Fallout 76, the Vault 76 reference the other day. Can you remind us what that is?
I don't remember if it's a video or a terminal entry. I haven't come across it yet.
Yeah, I never have either.
But I think it might be on a terminal entry somewhere.
Yeah, I have no idea what the connection is. It just makes some sort of reference to Vault 76. There's some sort of mystery that's going on with the Overseer, and that's the sort of last point people were making is like it seems like if you are going to do a quest-based solo character playthrough style as much as you can, you'll be following the Overseer who left the vault slightly before you on Reclamation Day.
Right, and that looks like it's more or less the main quest line.
Uh-huh. Which, Ray, I don't know how much you buy into this. When asked an estimated time of play for how long it should take to get through the main quest. They stated 40 to 45 hours, I think, which was also their answer for Fallout 4. So evidently, the Fallout 76 quest line for solo play is absolutely just as beefy as the one for Fallout 4.
No. It's not surprising. I mean, and really, with this big of a map, I mean, they have really got to get you going all over the place to be able to cover the whole map. So, because their idea isn't that this group of people will stay over here and these people will stay over here, and we've got plenty of room, so nobody really has to interact together. They're going to be sending you out across the map to do all kinds of stuff.
And it seemed like there's a whole slew of new bad guys and monsters. How many of our classic bad guys and enemies are making a reappearance? We saw super mutants.
Yeah.
We saw
Death
robots.
Claws.
We saw Death Claws. Did you see a rad scorpion or insects, bugs of any kind?
Yeah. So there's rad scorpions, blood bugs.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't actually see any stingwings, but I would imagine they're in there.
I think ticks are one of the new insects that they're introducing.
Yeah. Ticks and fireflies.
Ooh, fireflies. That's cool. That'll be great. I bet you they have some cool radiation thing going on there.
And bloatflies are still there. Mole rats.
Excellent. Cool. So lots of returning.
Yeah, familiar faces.
Yeah.
Even if they have 15 eyes.
So I was thinking. I Jess mentioned in the group there's a pre-beta stress test, which is actually probably what a beta test is. That they're doing for Xbox insiders only. And I didn't even know, I'd never heard of Xbox Insiders, but Xbox Insiders is some sort of beta testing for Xbox people for, I don't know, special betas? I don't even know what it's for hardware for Xbox, maybe? But Jess must be in this magical group. But she mentioned that for anyone out there who is in the Xbox Insiders, if you have pre-ordered the beta for 76, you can be part of this stress test that is going on, I believe, in the next few days, maybe this upcoming weekend. It's got to be soon because starting the 23rd, it's going live on Xbox. And Ray, we were saying how I stated and Shalene agreed that it was really strange that they were releasing the beta on a Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever day of the week it's coming out. Did you ever realize what they're doing?
Yeah, I saw it later.
Yeah, I finally put it together. October 23rd is, they're dropping the beta because that's the day the bombs dropped. I don't know why they didn't have the actual release on the 23rd. They should have done that. Put our beta a little bit earlier. That would have been much better.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of you Xbox Insider people out there, get in there, get us some notes, get us some inside information there. I'd like to see what that's all about. Before we shut off tonight here, I saw an interesting post on our Facebook group from member Philip. I just wanted to go down this here really quick. Philip writes, I've been so busy at work, I only have just this morning watched Mr. Matty Plays and MXR, and Oxhorn's Fallout 76 videos. As a longtime single-player PC gamer, I was worried a little by the presentation in the first two videos. Both Mr. Matty and MXR commented that the lack of NPCs and reinforced the idea that I think we've all feared, that Fallout 76 would be missing so much of the dark, humorous, highly textured backstory that the NPCs and other Fallout games have delivered. But then I watched Oxhorn's video, The Responders of Flatwoods. Where did they go? And was introduced to Oxhorn's essential single-player gameplay of the beta Fallout 76 demonstrated at the Greenbrier Hotel in West Virginia. Oxhorn started his 3 hours in the game with several other players, and they charged ahead as a team, but Oxhorn veered off to see what Fallout 76 would be like as a single-player experience. We were introduced to the Responders, a group of West Virginian volunteers that attempted to organize the survivors of the Great War and who sound very much like the predecessors of the Commonwealth Minutemen. As Oxhorn ran out of time, we learned that the Responders seemed to have disappeared in 2096, 19 years after the bombs fell, and 6 years before Reclamation Day. From Oxhorn's video, it seems as if the backstory is rich and the quests plentiful and interesting, but I do get the sense that it might be a little lonely exploring Appalachia by yourself without the NPCs and companions of Fallout 4. NPCs won't be approaching us with stories to tell, but the story does exist in terminal entries and holotapes. Anyway, I'm optimistic that Fallout 76 will be fun as a multiplayer game, something that will be new for me, but might also be a lot of fun as a solitary experience. Perhaps, once we have private servers and mods, modders might be able to give us back those NPCs that we learn to love and sometimes hate. Are you listening, Preston Garvey? In Fallout 4. Good post there, Philip. Thanks for your remarks. And I was thinking, what the hell is Preston Garvey going to be like in Fallout 76? What is his... Like, the Responders are going to have you go out and do a billion different quests. Is there just going to be a dead body that every time you go back to, there's a new holotape on? He's like, someone over here needs your help.
Yeah.
Sarah, go over there.
Yeah. Maybe Preston will be a robot.
Can't wait. Maybe. Maybe. Oh, wait. No, this is before. I was going to say maybe it would be a Robo Brain with Preston's brain.
A Robo Brain.
But no, this is before that. So he could go back in time.
Why is Philip so angry about Preston? This is the question I want answered.
I think everyone is angry about Preston except for, me
I
and
love
you.
Preston.
I love Preston. I think he's great.
Y'all, come on. I think actually he's in my top 3. He's not my most fave, but he's in my top 3 for sure.
Well, Philip was saying that it's going to get lonely.
Yeah.
In the wasteland without companions and stuff. I was like, well, that's the point. If everyone wants their solo play, go play solo. Who cares if it's lonely? It's supposed to be lonely if you want solo play.
What are these companions he's talking about?
Yeah, Ray doesn't even know what a companion is.
Which game is that in?
It's like, you guys are going to hop on the same server as Ray and be like, wait a second, I thought Ray was on here. Where's Ray? I'm going to fast travel.
You can follow the dot.
Ray's going to fast travel away from you as fast as you can fast travel to him.
Ray, I'm going to stick on you like crazy. You're not even going to know. He's going to be so annoyed with me.
Did you decide you're getting it on PC, Sarah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I got to play in my bed, y'all.
Good.
It's the only way to do it.
All right.
Good deal.
Well,
good deal.
Yeah, we'll definitely roll.
Sweet. All right. That's all I have for this evening. Do you guys have anything else you need to get into?
Well, since I don't podcast from my gaming bed, I'm thinking that's where I'm going to head.
That sounds good. Yeah, we're heading to Nuka World next week, everybody. Get out your Cappy glasses.
Woo!
Yeah, I had to I had to change into charisma clothes to get Petra to give me the quest.
Oh, is it charisma locked?
Yeah, you have to pass a check in order to get her to agree to, that you're passionate enough about it to be able to help her.
Oh, jeez.
And she's like, yeah, no, I'm good. I've got this.
I'm
like,
good
come
at that.
on, let me help you.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
I'm good at assigning quests that are difficult to get into. Sorry about that, guys. All right. Have fun in Nuka World, everybody.
Good night, all.
Good night, y'all.
See you in the wasteland.
Okay, just kidding. I've got to bring up the file with the music in it.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, the Skyrimatic Podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the wasteland.